but that's okay. I do the best I can.
You're fantastic. Okay, so we've got some people coming in. So today we were scheduled to do, we were scheduled to have a worldwide wrap. Oh shoot, I forgot to bring my tefillin in for show and tell. Well, anyway, another time perhaps. So let me describe what that is and then why we're not doing it. And then we have an opportunity for people to unmute and, you know, we'll just, and people can comment.
Rabbi, can I add something?
Sure.
We're posting on Facebook this morning, even though we're not doing Worldwide Wrap. We've got a little, it's our show and tell that we did with Cantor Finkelstein back in the summer, where he went through tefillin and he talked about it and even said some of the prayers and everything. It showed how they were wrapped. So it's on our Facebook page. I don't know if it's there yet. I haven't checked, but it's going to be there today. So it's a little like, I don't know, maybe it's a 7 or 8 minute video of Cantor Finkelstein doing a show and tell.
Perfect. Okay, good. That's perfect. So that's what we were going to do today. And we had extra pairs of tefillin so people could actually practice wrapping them. You know, obviously, since we're not in person, we can't do that. So here we are. Yeah, so this is, so let me tell you what Worldwide Wrap is. This was, for many decades, there was in many synagogues in the United States, a men's club or a brotherhood, which was sort of a way for men to get together and do men things. I don't know, but one of them would be watching the Super Bowl today. And then there was a sisterhood, which was sort of the women's group who would get together and do women's things. And that worked through the 50s and 60s, maybe even into the 70s. And then as sort of the gender equality sort of became much more common in the United States, these kind of gender distinctions sort of lessened. And also women were more engaged in work. They had always been working, but now there were more women in work. And so the nature of sisterhood kind of changed because it wasn't just women who were homemakers, but women who also had jobs to do. And that sort of affected how sisterhood functioned. And so those two organizations had to sort of change and adapt. We at Beth Yeshurun, and hopefully on the last Sunday of this class program, we'll have an opportunity for some members of our community to meet and greet on Zoom, I guess. And so you can see what they do. We do have a sisterhood today that's pretty active. So hopefully we'll have the president of Sisterhood speak for a few minutes. There was a Sisterhood Shabbat a couple Friday nights ago, which you can catch on Zoom. And they talk about the kinds of things that they do. And we had for a while a brotherhood, but then when Rabbi Strauss came here about 20 years ago now, he started another group called 100 Jewish Men, which met once a month for dinner and a speaker at Beth Yeshurun. And so 100 Jewish Men became very popular and sort of merged with Brotherhood. And the 100 Jewish Men is now our sort of Brotherhood equivalent. That's a long way of saying that there's this national, so this is the way the Jewish community in the United States is organized. We're highly organized. We're disorganized in our organization, but so there was a national sisterhood group and a national brotherhood group. So all the brotherhoods and sisterhoods from all the different congregations around the country had sort of a national leadership that would help provide programming support and other kinds of functions. And the National Brotherhood Organization created this idea of a worldwide wrap, WRAP, right? So the idea is that, again, in the sort of gendered Jewish world, men were supposed to put on tefillin, the little leather boxes that go on our arms and on our foreheads. But a lot of Jewish men in the conservative movement weren't necessarily putting on tefillin every morning. And so they created this program to focused on the Super Bowl, because that's a national men's event. Women participate also, but men seem to be more enthusiastic about it, I guess, maybe somewhat. So focused on the Super Bowl, they'd have men to get together and for the Super Bowl, but in the morning before the Super Bowl began, they'd come together for breakfast and putting on tefillin together. And people who didn't know how to put on tefillin would learn how to put on tefillin. There'd be a show and tell and extra pairs of tefillin, and people could put them on and get that experience. They do a short blessing, and then they'd have breakfast together and then go home to get ready for the Super Bowl. So that was the general concept. Nowadays, of course, I mean, that concept got started before we were more encouraging of women to put on tefillin too. And now we do encourage women to put on tefillin too. We've become very egalitarian in our movement. So women are certainly welcome and encouraged to put on tefillin as well. But we still do the worldwide wrap because a lot of women don't put on tefillin. So this is an opportunity for men and women to join together for a breakfast before the Super Bowl and get an experience putting on tefillin, and hopefully that would encourage them to do it more often during the rest of the year. So that's what this. So this morning, being Super Bowl morning, instead of having a class today, we were going to get together and have a show and tell about putting on tefillin, and then enjoy the breakfast with the men's club / 100 Jewish men and / women. But since we're having a pandemic right now, we're not getting together. So as Jennifer Rosenzweig pointed out, we're posting on our Facebook page today a video demonstration by our cantor, Mayor Finkelstein, about how and why we put on tefillin. And you can watch that to see the how that's done. Let's see, there's a couple of chats. Okay, so oh nuts. There we go. Okay, so that's explaining why we're not doing worldwide wrap today, because we can't be in person to do it, but you can watch the video to see how that's done. But I thought instead of doing that this morning, since one of the things we normally get to do when we're meeting in a building is we get to actually see each other live and in person. And usually people who come a few minutes early get to talk a little, or stay a few minutes late and get to talk a little. And we haven't really had an opportunity to do that this year. So for the people who are here, why don't we have people kind of introduce themselves, say a little about themselves, and then if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to do that. We have, roughly 50 minutes or so to spend kind of getting to know each other better. Okay, who wants to start? So looking at the top of my screen, I see Michael Birch, or iPhone 65, since you just unmuted. Go ahead. By the way, if you can have a camera, that would be great to see a camera of people.
Hello.
There you are.
Hey, how's it going, Rabbi?
Good. How are you? So tell us about yourself.
My name is Michael Birch. I'm actually a little late to the conversion or intro to Judaism class that started in January. So I've been using most of my time to look at the lessons and trying to assimilate as much information as I can. And it's been going well, slow but well. It's a lot of information, but I'm really interested in it. And I really like your delivering mechanisms, and the way you're teaching it is very understandable. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
I live with a Jewish girlfriend, so I have like firsthand experience to a lot of the cultural elements and prayers. And so getting to know more about them on this level is a lot of help, and I have a lot of interest in it. So I'm very appreciative.
Great. That's super. Yeah, I would say that for those people who have a Jewish significant other or a good friend or somebody, it is helpful because it's kind of like having a tour guide, when you're visiting a foreign country, which is kind of what it is.
Exactly.
It's helpful to have somebody to be able to point things out and explain what you're looking at. So that's
Mhm.
a big help. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay, good.
yes, sir.
So thanks for sharing. Sarah, I see you're unmuted, so maybe Sarah wants to say something.
Yeah, okay, let me get the camera on.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, your name is very cute, but that's
Yes. Okay. I think, wait, let me see. Start video. There we
there you
go.
are. All
Okay.
right. Okay. Now
Okay.
live and in
So,
person.
yeah. So hello. So my name is Sarah. Um, I've been moved to Houston a year and a half ago
Mhm.
from France after I don't know, a good 20 years in France, in Paris. And so I was fine. I finally been able to do a conversion, start a conversion class. And so it's funny because my mother converted Orthodox Judaism like in 2000. Well, we were already adults, so she converted like in 2009, 2010.
She was in Austin.
Um, sorry.
Was she in Austin at the time?
No, my mom, she was in, no, she was in Dallas, and then
Oh, Dallas.
she moved to England, to London,
Right.
and she passed away, unfortunately, in 2012.
Mhm.
So she's, that's where her Levaya and everything was in London. And so actually it's been a family journey for in my family, the women somehow. So my mother converted, my two sisters are converted, and so now it's me. It's not that I've never wanted to. It's just circumstances in life and everything, and especially the last year in France was very difficult with yellow vests, and we weren't able to go to shul and everything. So and then I'm married. My husband been married for 2 years, and he's Jewish. So yeah, basically that's my kind of
Mhm.
life story regarding Judaism. So I've been in
Probably.
contact, with Judaism for at least 15 years through the Orthodox community with my sisters and my mom. Yeah.
You should probably explain a little about yellow vests in case people don't know about that. Who are, who are the yellow vests?
Oh, well, the yellow vest is because there's been a lot of social tension in France, even before the Corona pandemic. So 2018, all of 2018, basically the entire year, um, there were protests because of low wages. People, they just can't make ends meet anymore with the minimum wage in France. So it was a year-long protest that basically stopped because of the coronavirus, lockdowns and curfews. France is actually on curfew right now. They have a curfew. They've had it for the past month and a half. Curfew starts at 6 p.m. Crazy. So they basically went out to protest on the weekends, on Saturdays. Um, and in France, everything's closed on Sunday. So they basically, we had no weekends for an entire year, literally an entire year. So I would leave on Thursday evenings because I couldn't even go to shul. So I'd leave on Thursday evenings, take the train from Paris to London, the Eurostar, which is 2.5 hours. I take my kids. I go to London on Friday evening before Shabbat, and then come back to Paris Sunday
Wow.
afternoon, because either way there was nothing we could do. Subways were closed, the metro stations you couldn't drive because everything, the perimeters. Since we lived 3 blocks away from the presidential palace, obviously it was closed off. So subway station, cars, everything on Saturday, there was just no way to get in or out. And then on Sunday, well, everything was closed. So there was nothing we could do. We would just hop on a train. It was
Wasn't
better.
there some anti-Semitic element though to the Yellow Jackets as
A
well?
huge anti-Semitic. I mean, that was another thing because it started getting very bad. Well, France has been historically anti-Semitic. It's not news. But it really started going downhill, just taking a nosedive since 2015, when there was the hostage take of the hyper kasher of the French of the Jewish supermarket, the kosher supermarket. And then from there, so basically, when after that, when we would go to shore, we had the military giving us
Right.
security outside. They were out there with their AK-47s, and we had to change most synagogues in France, especially Paris. We had to change our doors, making them bulletproof doors. And I don't know how you say, but there's a bulletproof door that goes onto the street, but they basically made like a bulletproof kind of little cabin inside where you go in, both doors closed.
Safe house, safe room or whatever.
Like it's before actually being able to go
Yeah.
into to sit down and everything.
Right. Yeah, security.
So my daughter, the last year, I mean, even on the subway, it's just anti-Semitic slurs. If they see you wearing a Magen David or a Chai or something, it got pretty intense, pretty intense, especially on Champs-Élysées. My brother-in-laws, well, the thing with my brother-in-laws is because they're Orthodox, they have the beard. But when they would come to Paris, they had to wear a hat over their kippah, because if not, it's
It works.
if you
Yeah.
have open signs of being Jewish, on Champs-Élysées, it's pretty dangerous. Yeah, it can be.
Well, so I just not having been there in many, many years, I do have a friend who's a conservative rabbi there. His wife is a conservative rabbi, or I guess reform rabbi, and he's been reaching out, like even to the Muslim community, and so there's some interfaith things going on in France. So it's not all, I guess, it's not all bleak over there. At least he tells me. But
Well, I don't know what zone he's in, because I can tell you that the Orthodox Jewish community that lives in, like, for example, the 19th district, Bouchernon, places like that, where there's also a high Muslim immigration. I have friends that live there, and it's yeah, you
it's a
have to
mixed
be
story.
careful.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyways, thankfully you're here now and in the class.
Exactly. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Good. Okay. So who's next? Who wants to talk next? Rena.
Okay. Oh, I need to put my face, right?
Yeah. iPhone 6S.
Well, I should have I should have put some makeup or something.
Oh.
Well, okay,
You
I
just
put
close
my
up. There you
face.
go. That's good.
Well, I'm come here because I want to be and live closer to Hashem as possible. I love Hashem. I don't see myself living any longer like I am.
Uh-huh.
My husband doesn't want to convert, and so I decided to just do it by myself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I went for like about 10 years uh, going to the United Orthodox
Yeah.
synagogue.
Uh-huh.
And my husband at first he said, okay, yeah, sure. Once he saw that there was a lot of things to give up, he decided not to. So yeah, years pass, but now I said, whatever years I have left in this earth, I want to make them meaningful for me and my life and my journey with God, with Hashem. I just don't see myself being away from Him anymore. You know, I want to return.
So have
That's
you,
what I,
and this is kind of a general question for people, I suppose, have you all had an opportunity, because of the pandemic, we're not having so many people come to services in person, but we do live stream them. Has that been
right,
something people have been able to do on Friday night or Saturday, just to at least get a feel for what a Friday night service is like, a Saturday morning service? And if you, by the way, so I think I mentioned to everybody when I met with you individually, but if you, traditional services, the Orthodox services, do not have musical instruments.
right,
And our main service does use musical instruments, but we have a chapel service that's now back live streaming. So that's the one that's live streaming from Friedman Levitt. They don't use musical instruments, and it's just pretty much straight what we call davening. They just kind of pray the service using the prayer melody, and
right,
no composed pieces. So if you want a more traditional service, there's the one that's happening and live streaming from Friedman Levitt Sanctuary.
mm-hmm,
And if you like the more modern service, that's the one that's live streaming from Barg. And also, I think I mentioned to everybody here also the Museum Minion, which is lay run service, and they don't use live stream, they do it on Zoom. So everybody can see everybody, and they have kids doing, Enkel Eloheinu at the end, and some other parts that the kids can do. So that's kind of fun, but it's sort of a different kind of experience. So
right.
have people been able to kind of participate or join in with those at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Jennifer just put in the chat box there. If you want to get connected during a service, she'll help you do that. Okay. So here, let me, so since that's been asked, let me see if I can do that for you. I'm going to share a screen here, and I'll go to our website. There's our website. How come that came out kind of goofy? Let's try it again. There we go. Okay, so here's our website. So if you scroll past this nice family picture here, this is the main live stream box. This is the Barg Sanctuary. So this is where you can find the Barg service on Friday night at 6 or Saturday morning at 9:30. And here it's telling you 5 days, 8 hours and 30 minutes to the next service, right? Which would be the Friday night service. So whenever it is, this box will be replaced with the actual live stream service. But you can also watch it on our Facebook page. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to go to Facebook here. You're going to see my Facebook page. By the way, you're welcome to friend me, because I often post on my Facebook page things that are happening at Beth Yeshurun. Here's for instance, this is the thing we just posted about how to put on tefillin with the cantor. And so if you go to my groups thing here, you'll see, come on, groups. Oh, where's Beth Yeshurun? Oh, well, okay. Let's try something else. How about pages? There we go, Beth Yeshurun. So this is the Beth Yeshurun page. And from here, I think you have live stream. We live stream our services also. And you can also catch past here, the weekly Shabbat service from yesterday morning is already posted here. So you can watch yesterday's service on the Facebook page. And then we also have a YouTube channel. Here's YouTube.
I just put that link in the chat.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So if you go to YouTube, Subscriptions. You can see our Barg Sanctuary service here. And by the way, this we also on our YouTube channel have all the class sessions from like this one. So that's how you can access those. Were there any other questions in chat to follow there? Okay. All right. So good. Who's next? We haven't heard from Neil or Nicole.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm Nicole. I kind of found Judaism when I joined the Navy and then got immediately separated from the Navy in boot camp. And when that happens, you spend a couple months in a separate unit with everyone else who's getting separated. And I made a friend there. Her name was Newman, and we were friends because we had a similar job designation, but she was Jewish, and she ended up inviting me to a Friday night service, and she got me to go because she told me they would feed us bread there, and I really wanted to eat outside meal times. But it just really resonated with me, and I wanted to find out more. And yeah, like 3 years later, that's how I got here. So
You followed the breadcrumbs, so to speak.
yeah, exactly. The delicious breadcrumbs.
So I mean, obviously it wasn't just that. So you got involved in, I mean, holidays or other kinds of events?
I've been trying, but I still don't understand a lot, you know? I watch the services, but there's a lot of Hebrew.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of Hebrew. So.
Right. So I think you started kind of also in the middle of the year, if I remember. Yeah. So
I started
my
like
wife, what?
I started like a month after the class had started.
Okay. Yeah. So my wife teaches the Hebrew class in the second hour. I don't know if that's been at all helpful, but
Ooh, I know almost the entire alphabet now.
that's a big help. You know, so as I've mentioned, again, I usually mention this to people when I meet with you individually, that a lot of Jewish people know the Hebrew alphabet and how to sound out words, and then they've learned certain prayers because they've done them every week for a while. But it's not like they can necessarily translate the Hebrew. Like I couldn't, and I was a very diligent Sunday school student. My parents both taught in the Sunday school in a Reformed synagogue in Tucson. And so I was like the nerdy good student in Sunday school. And so I knew the prayer. I knew how to sing the prayer. I knew how to sound out the words, but I couldn't translate them really. It wasn't until I went to Israel and studied Hebrew as a language intensively for a while. And then I had this aha moment when in Israel, they have this program called Ulpan, which is this intensive Hebrew program, because when Israel got started as a state, even before it got started as a state, when Jews started moving there, they were moving from all these different countries, Germany and Russia and France and Italy, and they all spoke different languages. And so we had an interesting collection of sort of the founding fathers of Zionism, who each had their own little area of expertise that they contributed to this new project. And one of them was a guy named Eliezer ben Yehuda, who realized that we couldn't form a country if everybody spoke different languages. And Hebrew was the language of our people, but it is so outdated because nobody used it as a living language for centuries. So there weren't words for telephone. There's no telephone in the Hebrew Bible, right? And a bunch of other words as well. So he just invented a whole dictionary of Hebrew words. And to this day, there's an Eliezer, there's a Ben Yehuda dictionary. That's the Hebrew English dictionary. It's so named after him. Anyway, so another thing that they had to do was develop this ulpan, what they called an ulpan, which was this intensive Hebrew study program, so that when the immigrants came in from whatever country they came in 6 months, half a day classes for 5 or 6 days a week, they'd be learning Hebrew, and by the end of 6 months, they were able to converse with each other. So that Israel kind of developed this program. So I did that program after I graduated college. And after studying Hebrew for about 2 months and going to services at the program I was on Friday night, when I opened the prayer book one night, it was like, oh my God, I understand what these words mean.
Makes sense.
So it was kind of a new thing. But there we do have, so Diane has this class where she teaches the alphabet and the Hebrew words. But then every other year we have an adult bar bat mitzvah program, and you're all welcome to do that. I mean, we're doing one this year, so it won't be next year, but it'll be the year after that. So if you're still with us, hopefully you will be, you can join the adult bar bat mitzvah class, and there you will learn the prayers and some of the meaning of the prayers and how to sing them, so you'll be more comfortable with it. I also might do next year, which I've done sometimes on Sundays, a class on the prayer book to try and explain how the prayer book works. Again, a lot of Jews don't know that. They don't understand why the prayer book is organized the way it is, what all the different prayers mean, why they're put in the way they are. So I do this class for our congregation, but you're welcome to, of course, join as well. That was a long answer, sorry.
And when is that? When is that, Rabbi?
So this year I'm not able to do it, but probably next year I'll do a class like that. It'll be a Sunday morning. Okay. So it might be 9 o'clock, it might be 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, but we'll advertise it. Oh, you know what? Let me show you this also. Here, let's go back to the Beth Yeshurun page. Okay, why does it do that all the time? There. Okay, so here's our learning. If you go to the top bar here, learning, and then you go to adult education. This is a adult bar mitzvah class from 2 years ago. And then you go to this page over here, you'll have the list of classes that are this year. And you can also see the video archive. Oh, this is a program I did with Matthias Henze about Jewish-Christian dialogue. For those of you who don't know, Rice University has a Jewish studies program. They don't have it's not a department, but it's a program. And the head of the program is actually not a Jewish person. He's Lutheran.
All right.
His name is Matthias Henze. He's a really nice, very smart professor. And so I did a dialogue with him on certain Jewish Christian.
Rabbi, about that, can we or can someone enroll in that program without being a student at Rice?
That's a good question. I don't know that you can probably get in without being at Rice, but I do programs with him from time to time, and this set of dialogues you might be interested in, you can.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
The other thing, what I wanted to show you was, let's go to maybe the message. Oh yeah, no. You know what I wanted to go to? I want to go back to our front page. There we go. If you scroll down here a little farther, you get this virtual community. So we put this up almost a year ago now. This was the icon that our specialist, a tech specialist, Ashley, put together for us for our virtual community. And you click on that and it goes to here. And if you want to see happenings, this is a weekly email that tells you what's going on for the coming week. And you just click here. If you're logged in like I am now, I automatically get logged in. So it'll go to what you're already subscribed to. But if you're not logged in, you can subscribe to the whatever you want, put in your email address. And I believe all of you have access now to log in. We put in your email addresses.
Okay.
So you should be able to log in.
If anyone has any trouble, just email me and I can help you fix it.
Thank
My
you.
email address is in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jennifer's terrific. So I'll help you. Okay, so anyway, so that'll, if you're on the happenings, for instance, you'll find out, next fall, what classes are being offered. We'll have it in the happenings, so you'll know what's being offered, and you can just join anytime. All the classes are free, so.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi. That's
Thank
good to
you.
know.
Okay, who's next? How about Lizette? I'm just looking at you in there. You see your picture.
You mean Cosette? Cosette,
Oh,
no?
oh no, Cosette, you can go now if you want to.
Okay.
We have to have a
wasn't sure.
Lizette.
Is there a
Lizette and
Lizette?
a Cosette?
Lizette. That's not confusing at all. Yeah, okay. Let me put my video on. I am not camera ready, but you guys just kind of take me as you see me.
It's Sunday morning, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, wait, we
We're
turn
just
on my
rolling
light.
out of bed and turning on our computer, so it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So now you can see me.
Nice sofa.
I'm yeah, my mom actually reupholstered that.
Looks great.
Yeah. So my name is Cosette Roussel. I am converting I'm converting. It's been a long journey. I initially started my conversion in 2013, and then my job took me to Reno, and I looked for places to convert there, and there was some online things, but I'm like, at the time there was no COVID, and I'm like, I want to go there, and
I
I
want to be
wanna,
in person.
yeah, I want to be in person. I need to get the feel.
I came to Houston so you can have in-person classes.
Right.
Good timing.
And, yeah, I came to Houston in 2017.
Okay.
And so I looked around and I contacted a bunch of synagogues, from Reform to to all the whole spectrum, and I researched them and said, which ones do I like here? And so this synagogue was the one that reached out to me and seemed the most conservatism, seems the most like me, let's put it that way. So my journey's been long. But I've had a number of Jewish friends. I've never had a Jewish spouse well, I've had one Jewish boyfriend. But when I took the journey to to Israel in 2012, that's when I'm like, okay, I really need to step it up, and I need to do what I need to do, which is why in 2013, in New Orleans, I started my conversion, but then I got pulled away for work. So that's a long way around to saying that, yeah, I'm very excited about this. I love this class. I love the way you teach it. I love the Hebrew class, but man, it's so difficult learning.
So let me say something about that as well. So scientists have actually said that young minds, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, that's when, if you learn a language, that's when your brain is ready to get new languages.
Yeah.
The rest of us,
Well, I speak a second language. I speak fluent German because I actually grew up in Germany. I didn't grow up in the United States. I left America when I was 5. So
yeah.
I went to Spain, and then I went to Germany. And so I speak a second language, and I sort of half speak Spanish.
Right.
That's another long story. So that part, I have no problem with that.
Got the chad down, right? That's good.
Right. But it's just the learning the different letters. That I'm having a problem.
Yes. Yeah.
But it'll happen. My mother, who is 81, she has learned Hebrew. So wow. I get the knock on the head. Oh, wait, why can't you know this? So I'm it's a good thing. So her and I, we once a week, on top of the class I have today, we go over some of the lessons. But
Cool.
anyway, I liked what Jennifer was saying, being Jewish in Paris, and saying I was going to convert. I started saying this when I was about 12. I was going to convert to Judaism in Germany. At the time, it was okay. Probably right now, it's probably not so good in Europe to say you're converting to be Jewish. And then on top of everything else, Jewish and Black. I'm
Yes, right.
yeah.
Double jeopardy, that's for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So I keep that personal. I keep that to myself. Like when I'm out in public that I'm converting, I don't tell people that. I don't even tell people in my own community that I'm converting. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's I understand. You're a strong-willed person.
Yes, I am. Well, what don't they say to convert? You have to be rejected 3 times. I've had
they say that. I don't. That's based on the story of Ruth, which we'll get to at the end of the end of the class when we read Shavuot. But so Ruth was supposedly turned away 3 times by her mother-in-law, Naomi.
Okay.
And so some people use that as a model.
Mm-hmm.
There's other reasons for possibly doing that. You want to be sure that somebody's sincere and that they know what they're getting themselves into. And then at different times in history, it might have been dangerous for Jews to accept new members into the community because you didn't know if they were going to be spies to the outside authorities. So I don't have, in America, we don't have to worry about that, and thankfully. And so I usually don't turn people away, but I do, as we'll talk about a little later in the semester. I do have a class where I talk about anti-Semitism because that is considered one of the important topics.
You have to know it.
You know what you're getting yourself into. There are people out there who don't like us. So,
I know a lot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway. Okay. So, well, Neil, why don't you, since you're on, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry for the dramatic effects of light and shade, and adds some
kind of like Rembrandt.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Rembrandt effect. I'm from Lebanon, country neighboring Israel. I grew up in a secular home, Druzy background. Lebanon is a country with 18 different sects and religions.
Wow.
But barely any presence for the Jewish religion.
Right.
And that's mostly political. Secular background and an upbringing focused on business and development and growth and on led me to a long period of my life not wanting to be religious in any sense. Until a few years back, my father passed away. And it kind of shook me and made me want to look for more meaning. That led me to research and reading and looking around, and having had many Jewish friends, Israeli friends specifically, I had to look into the religion I least knew because everything else was available and abundant around me. And after reading a lot and researching a lot, I discovered that Judaism in itself looks so much like me. It's a lot like what I grew up to be. The secular upbringing I had home wasn't secular a lot, was more like the basic ethics and self-conduct that Judaism teaches. So from there, I decided on taking it further. That was around 3-4 years ago, traveling a lot. As a film producer, I went so many countries within a very short period of time. And from one place to the other, more time went on, and I tried to see my luck there. And around a year and a half ago, a friend of mine passed away, and that shook me again. And I was in Mexico City back then. I approached the congregation of Beth Israel in Mexico City, conservative congregation.
Yeah.
And I asked them to convert there, and they didn't turn me away 3 times, but they turned me away a few times. So, So yeah, they
Latin American countries, I understand, do that a lot. The Jewish communities in Latin America, for some reason, they're like that.
yeah, they're not quick on accepting people, nor too keen. I guess it's also the language barrier. I'm not fluent in Spanish, and in Mexico City, it's a necessity. So it took few times until I realized I can't join. Then I tried my luck in LA. It didn't work either because my uncles live in LA. Then I asked my friend, a New Yorker friend, a conservative Jew, to please ask her rabbi if he would accept me in.
I don't get why LA. Why did you have a problem in Los Angeles?
They told me you need to live in the zip code that we are in. That was their condition. If you live outside this zip code, then we cannot welcome you in the congregation.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a different way of rejection I've never tried before. And New York,
Judaism, so that's a new one.
same thing happened. Similar thing happened in New York. It's like he has to come and live and reside in New York for a while before we can accept him in. But I mean, that's for my good luck, because late last year I knew I'm moving to Houston, so I started looking for a congregation in Houston, and I decided on Beth Yeshurun, and that's how I contacted Lisa and got in touch with you, and it's been awesome since. I mean, these classes are amazing. It's the way you deliver the lessons. It's your sense of humor and your realistic perspective of life. It's not too idealistic. It's so much like how I would like to become a Jew, a person who sees things from a natural perspective, but at the same time has the ethical background to conduct himself in a proper way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that it's been going great, and I can't wait until May.
Okay.
When is the date, Rabbi?
So the Beit Din. So I think there is a class session. We'll talk more about that, but basically, at the end of the class, I mean, people who sort of entered in the middle will have to talk about whether you'll be, what the best way to proceed in May is. But if you've been participating in most of the classes by May, you should contact me. I'm not always so good about contacting everybody, but if you contact me, I guess that's my way of turning you away, right? I wait for you to come to me. So you contact us and me and say, I want to arrange a meeting with you, and then we meet, and you write the essay questions that I had at the beginning of the class. If you need the question prompts again, I can send them to you. So you write the essay questions. We talk about the essays, talk about how you're doing, whether you're ready to do this, and then individually I arrange a Beit Din for you. So I get together with two other Jewish people to form the Beit Din. We meet at a time and that's and a date that's convenient for all of us. It has to be convenient for you as well. And basically, the way I run a Beit Din, it's not like I understand it is an Orthodox world where they ask you, if you're making chicken soup and a drop of milk falls in the soup, what do you do? Or who is Moses' grandmother or something like that. We don't ask any difficult questions. It's really mostly designed to see that you are, this is what you really want to do. So they'll ask you general questions. What's your favorite holiday? What holiday do you least like? What do you like most about Judaism? What do you find more challenging about Judaism? What do you want to do next in your Jewish life? Now, after you're done with this, what do you plan to learn next? What do you plan to commit to doing in the future in a Jewish way or something like that? So just to kind of get a feel for who you are and you also get to tell a few minutes about your story. And then we go to the mikvah, which is now open again, thankfully. So United Orthodox Synagogue has a kosher mikvah, which they let the community use. So we schedule the mikvah, generally has to be during the week and during business hours. So you probably would have to miss maybe a half a day of work that day. The ceremony itself, including the Beit Din and the mikveh, only takes about an hour. But you know, getting there, getting ready, whatever, it might be you might have to miss about a half a day of work. Anyway, we meet at UOS. We do the Beit Din. You go into the mikveh. You say the blessings, and you know the ritual waters of the mikveh bath. You know, you emerge for them, sort of spiritually purified and a full member of the Jewish people. So that's it, and then we give you a certificate.
Wow.
For
Sounds
people
great.
who, yeah, for people who started the class kind of in the middle, we can, if you've kind of watched, because we have recorded everything this year. So if you watch the videos that are already recorded, and they're on our YouTube channel,
Yep.
we can talk about any of the sessions that you missed, and if you have questions about them or whatever. Also, everybody, you all are welcome to arrange a time to meet with me anytime you want to. If you have questions about the class or things outside the class, whatever, just set up a time for us to Zoom or phone call.
Great.
Rabbi,
I would like to add this, you know, what Nail said regarding the conversions and living in zip codes. That was one of the huge issues of why I couldn't convert in Europe, because I not only did I have to live in a Jewish zip code, but because of all the cooking and the laws of kashrut and everything, I had to live with a family, and I had 2 children, and I was, you know, and I was married. So it was very, very difficult because the conservative movements are, I don't know, it's in France, it's Masorti. Yeah, and so while I started there with at Adat Shalom, but yeah, they're very, I mean, it's extremely difficult when, I mean, I can't move from one side of the city to the other. Sometimes you just can't do that. So yeah, it was what Nael says is it's very, very common in Europe. Yeah, that it's as well. You just, if you don't live in the zip code, and because they have to have somebody keeping an eye on you, so to speak. So
Yeah, so there's a few reasons for that. One, in the Orthodox world, of course, they want you to be strictly observant of all the rules as they interpret them. And
as women, they want to know that you know how to cook, that you know how to make you know, the meals for the holidays, for Shabbat, for. I mean, I understand there's a side to it, but I couldn't take my 2 kids to the other side of on the other side of, yeah, the city. It was just impossible. Yeah.
So one of the issues also in the Orthodox world is about driving. They don't want you to drive on the Sabbath, because one of the things that the Bible actually says is that the one kind of work that you're not supposed to do on Shabbat, you're not supposed to work on Shabbat. And one aspect of working is lighting a fire. And the cars run on the internal combustion engine, which every time one of those sparks ignites the gas, it's like a little fire. So the Orthodox world does not allow driving on Shabbat. Our movement in the 1950s decided that it was better for people to drive to the synagogue to observe the Sabbath than to stay home and do nothing. Or worse, what most people were doing, driving to the supermarket or the shopping malls or the movies. Right. So if everybody's doing all this anyway, why are we saying don't come to shul? That doesn't make any sense. So we said to drive to the synagogue is okay. I would say 99% of our congregants drive to the synagogue. So that's one of the main problems with having to live in the zip code, is that you want people to be coming to
close by.
Stuff. Yeah. But there may be, actually, I hadn't thought about it, but you may be right that another aspect may be they wanted to see that you weren't bringing pork into your house, and they're like,
well, no, because they'll tell you, because it's just, well, you know, we were inside the Erev of a synagogue, even though it was, you know, kind of far away, but we were still inside the Erev. But they just want, one of the things that they need to make sure, because it's with the Beit Din afterwards, is that you know yeah, all the laws that a woman should have,
Yeah.
family law, everything, yeah.
So my approach to this, and I'm admittedly kind of probably on the liberal end of our movement, but my primary thinking is all of what all of you have so far expressed is, this is where you feel spiritually comfortable. And I think it's important for people to be spiritually comfortable in the religious community that they're joining. And if you're clearly not identifying as a Christian, or any of the other faiths, you feel at home in the Jewish world. So I want you to feel at home in the Jewish world also. Now, our movement did separate from the Reform movement over mostly matters of ritual, like Sabbath observance and kosher observance and all that. So obviously we hold those things as ideals that we try to live up to, but I don't expect people to be 100% observant of those things in a conservative movement. I mean, we are different from the Orthodox, and most of our members who are born Jewish aren't necessarily 100% observant in these things. So you're joining our community, and our community is a spectrum of observance. So that's not a requirement for me. I mean, at least the way I see it. Seeing it as the ideal, though, we hope everybody eventually will want to be kosher and eventually do Shabbat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Observance is a way of expressing how committed you are to this,
Right, yeah.
to this new faith.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I guess I'm running out of time. I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody today, but this was kind of fun. Maybe we should do this again sometime. Let me see if we can put this on the calendar to do again.
How many people is left out, Rabbi?
Well, there's 17. I don't know. Some people might have just come in for the Hebrew class, but we have about 20 or 25 people, I think, who are fairly regular in the conversion class, and we only did about 6 or 7 or 8 people.
Yeah, we didn't go.
Yeah, so let's do this again. This was fun.
Thanks, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. I'll try and figure out when a good time would be to do it. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good morning.
Good morning, Boker Tov.
Boker or.
Boker or.
Did I let everyone in? I think so. Okay.
Oh, you're having trouble with the internet, huh?
Yeah, I froze in my last class, so I hope I plugged into Ethernet now, so I hope everything will be okay. Do people need a break, or are you okay to keep going? Are we good?
I'm fine.
Okay. Let's start with the Aleph Bet song. Oops, you know what? It's not quite 10. Let's wait like 1.5 minutes, okay? It's not quite 10 o'clock. Okay. I'm gonna get my coffee from the microwave and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, well, it's 10, so let's go. All right. Let's start with the Aleph Bet song. Page 95. Aleph Bet Bet.
Aleph Bet Bet.
Gimel Dalet Hey.
Gimel Dalet Hey.
Vav Zayin Chet Tet.
Vav Zayin Het Tet.
Yod Kaf Chaf.
Yud Kaf Kaf.
Lamed Mem Nun.
Lamed Med Nun.
Samek Ayin Pei Fei.
Sam Chaim Pei Fei.
Sadi Kuf Resh.
Sadi Kuf Resh.
Shin Sin Tav.
Shin Sin Tav.
Good. Okay. Kol hakavod.
Kol hakavod.
Ma nishma hayom? Ma nishma hayom?
Kaha kaha.
Oh, okay.
Baruch Hashem.
Kacha kacha Baruch Hashem.
Oh, where's my pens?
Hakol tov. Hakol tov. Everything's good. Hakol tov.
Kol beseder.
Okay. Yafeh b'chutz. It's very nice outside. Yafeh b'chutz. Okay. On the Aleph Bet, on the first line of the Aleph Bet, we see Aleph. What other consonant kind of works like Aleph?
Ayin.
Another letter that kind of functions like Aleph. What other letter kind of functions like Aleph? Right? Aleph is silent. Somebody just said it. What other letter is silent besides Aleph?
Ayin.
Ayin. Ayin is correct. Now, in addition to ayin, hey at the end of a word is silent, right? Hey at the end of a word is silent, right? Not if it has a vowel under it, it's not silent, but like at the end of a syllable or at the end of a word, it's silent. Okay, what about vet? What other letter sounds like vet?
Vav.
Correct. Good for you. Vav, right? Vet and vav.
Vav.
On the second line, what letter kind of sounds like chet? We have another consonant that sounds like chet.
Chaf.
Chaf. Good. Chaf. And of course, chaf sofit and chaf are really the same letter. Have we had tet yet?
Mm-hmm.
We've had it singing Aleph Bet, the Aleph Bet song, but maybe we haven't been reading tet. So there's what letter sounds like tet? Somebody said tav. Tav is correct. Tet, tav, right? They both are the T sound. Tet, tav. Okay. On the third line, what letter sounds like kaf? Right, yod, kaf, chaf. What letter sounds like kaf?
Chaf.
Kaf and kuf. Where's kuf in the alphabet? What letter do you have kuf on? Where is it?
It looks like a P and it's all the way at the bottom, like before the last.
Right, it looks like a weird P. Right, that's kuf. So kaf and kuf sound the same. And then we have chaf and the chaf sofit. And what letter did we say sounds like chaf and chaf sofit?
Het.
Het, right. Okay, on the fourth line, the second letter, what's the second letter on the fourth line?
Mem.
Sofit.
Mem sofit, or a final mem. What letter do you think you might confuse with mem sofit?
Samech.
Yes, you could confuse it with samech. Mem sofit is more square usually, and the samech is quite round. Okay, samech at the end of the fourth line. What letter, and we haven't been practicing this in the book yet, but we know it from chanting the Aleph Bet song. What letter is going to sound like samech?
Zadi?
Zadi.
It's, you're close. So we sing Sadi Kuf Resh Shin Sin Tav. So which of those letters sounds like samech?
Sin.
Sin, right. Sin. Right, that is the second line from the bottom. Last letter is sin. Sin and samech. Samech, sin. Okay, very good. Okay, on the third line from the bottom, ayin. What letters could you confuse with ayin, do you think?
Zadi.
Right, a lot of people confuse sadi and ayin, and I am not exactly sure how to tell you to differentiate them, except with lots of practice.
And final Zadi, correct?
And right, and sadi, sofit, or final sadi, right. And sometimes people confuse sadi with aleph. Sometimes they do. And if you look, let's look at all of our final forms. So on the third line, what sofit or final form do we have on the third line?
Chaf.
Right, we have chaf sofit. And then on the fourth line, are there any final or sofit forms on the fourth line?
There are two,
There are two. And what are the two?
non-sofit and mem-sofit.
Right, mem sofit and non sofit, correct. On the third line from the bottom, what sofit form do we have? We haven't had this letter yet, but we do sing the song, so maybe you can figure it out.
Yes, Sophie.
Right, correct. Fe sofit, if it had a little P in it, it would be pe sofit, but as it is, it's fe sofit. Fe sofit. If it had a little dot, a little green P in it, it would be pe sofit. Okay, on the second line from the bottom, what sofit form do we have?
Sadi.
Yes, we have a sadi sofit. Very good. Okay, and now let's look at our vowels. I'm going to say the name of the vowel, and I'd like you to say the sound of the vowel. Okay, let's see how this goes. Kamatz, patach, sheva, eh. It's either eh or silent for sheva, right? Chataf, patach. Good. Chirik. Good. Cholam. Good. Cholam chaser. There's a little cheat sheet you probably noticed on page 96 here, right? It has it. And now we have a kamatz with a shava in front of it. And that is called chataf kamatz. Chataf kamatz is like a kamatz with a shava in front of it, but it is not pronounced ah, right? If a kamatz has a shva in front of it, it is not pronounced like an ah. So how do we pronounce a chataf kamatz? Oh, very good. How do we pronounce segol?
Ooh. No.
Right? It says like in bed. Segol. Segol. Okay. And then sometimes we have a shva in front of the 3 dots, and then it is chataf segol. How do we pronounce chataf segol? Okay. How do we pronounce the 2 horizontal dots? Sere. How do we pronounce those? A. How do we pronounce this? It looks like a vav with a dot in it. A shuruk. How do we pronounce shuruk? Ooh. And how do we pronounce kubutz? Ooh. We lost someone. I guess I drove someone crazy. Okay. Let's go. All right. I know it makes your brain hurt sometimes, but that's actually a good thing, right? That struggling is your brain learning. Okay. So we are on page 49. L'chaim. Have you ever seen that in a movie? L'chaim. To life. L'chaim.
Yes.
Fiddler on the Roof, which you must watch. Like at least once a year, you have to watch Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes.
We watched it this year for Hanukkah. It was great.
It is. It's so great, and it's really all about the modern Jew, right? It's all about the pull of tradition and the pull of assimilation. Right? So it's about the modern Jewish experience, even though it's a story that probably takes place about 120 years ago. I think we can still relate to that, and I think any immigrant can relate to that, to the idea of the pull of tradition and the pressure to assimilate and be like everyone else. Okay, but anyway, l'chaim, to life. Okay, and l'chaim has our mem sofit, which we're all familiar with anyway. And let's just review the vowels one more time, that line of circles there. Let's read it together. Ah, ah, e. Okay, here we go. So we're going to practice our mem sofits on page 49, line 1. I'll read it once, and then you'll kind of echo me the second time. And be sure to write in any letters that you need to write in. Tom, com, som, dom, im, ham. And now just echo me. Tom,
Tom,
som, dom, im, ham. Good. Okay, line 2. Sham, yam, bam, ram, im. Okay, and you can echo me this time. Sham,
Sham.
yam,
Yum.
bam,
Bam.
ram, im.
Im.
Good. Line 3. Im, tim, ra, yim, lim, ham, im. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time before you read it with me. Yim, tim, ra, yim, lim, ham, im. All right, before we read it together, look at the third word. If there's a vowel under the yud, then the yud acts like a consonant, right? So on the first couple of words on line 3, the first word in line 3, there are 2 yuds. The first yud is a consonant, and the second yud is part of the vowel, right? Yim. And the second word on line 3, team, the yud is just part of the vowel, right? Because there's no vowel under it.
Mhm.
And the third one, ra, yim, right? The yud has a vowel under it, so it's a consonant. Okay, in the third word, lim, the yud is just part of the vowel, right? And in the last word, im, the yud is just part of the vowel. Okay, so this time, please echo me on line 3. So I'll say, we're gonna do it like this. I'll say it, you say it right after me. So it'll be like yim, yim, team, team, rayim, rayim, like that, okay? Here we go. Yim,
Yim,
team,
Tim,
rayim,
Rayim,
lim,
Lim,
ham,
Ham,
im.
Im.
Okay, line 4, I'll read it twice, and then you'll echo me the third time. Achim, shartam, laim, asham, hanim. Vachim, shartam, laim, asham, hanim. Now read it with me, or echo me. Vachim,
Vahim,
shartam,
Shartam,
laim,
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 asham,
Asham,
hanim.
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 Good. Let's jump down to line 5. But first, we'll look at word power at the bottom of the page to see what words they have hidden in here somewhere. So they have the word lechaim, to life. They have the word banim, banim, boys or sons. And they have the expression Yetziat Mitzrayim. Yetziat Mitzrayim. And that expression can be found in some prayers. And it is a very specific, right, idea. It's not like you're leaving Egypt, you were on a vacation. It's very specifically talking about the Israelites being brought out of Egypt by God, right? And being taken from slavery into freedom. Yetziat Mitzrayim. So it has a kind of a spiritual context of going out into freedom, right? Leaving slavery and entering freedom. Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's not, that's what it's about, that specific biblical and historical event of leaving Egypt. Okay, so we're going to keep those 3 in mind while we're reading. Lechaim, banim, and Yetziat Mitzrayim. Okay, this tells me that we're on schedule because they're doing Passover vocabulary. So that means we're not behind in the book. It's not Passover yet. Okay. All right, line 5. I hope we don't miss any of our target words. Okay, I'll read it twice and then you'll echo me. Nashim, shamayim, devarim, yadayim, kamim, alim. Again, nashim, shamayim, devarim, yadayim, kamim, alim. Okay, now echo me. Nashim,
Nashim,
shamayim,
Shamayim,
devarim,
Devarim,
yadayim,
Jadayim,
kamim,
Kamim,
Amim,
alim.
Alim.
Okay, so we didn't get any vocabulary words on that line, did we? Okay, line 6. Avraham, Nevi'im, Hiramim, Shivim, Anashim, Avraham,
Avraham,
Nevi'im,
Nevi'im,
Hiramim, Shivim, Anashim. And one more time. Avraham,
Abraham,
Nevi'im,
Nevi'im,
Hiramim,
Keramim,
Shivim,
Shibim,
Shivim,
Anashim.
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 Okay. Line 7, I'll read it twice and then you'll echo me. Ivrim,
Ibrim, oops,
Yeladim, Tzadikim, Melachim. Again. Ivrim, Rachamim, Yeladim, Tzadikim, Melachim. Okay, this time you'll echo me. Ivrim,
Ibrim,
Rachamim,
Rachamim,
Yeladim,
Jelatim,
Tzadikim,
Sadikim,
Melachim.
Melachim,
Melachim.
Okay, line 8. Avadim,
Avadim.
Yat,
Yat,
Itzraim,
Itzraim,
Lechaim. Okay,
Lechaim,
you can echo me this time. I think that will be fine. Avadim,
Avadim.
Yetziat, Mitzrayim.
Mitzrayim,
Lechaim,
Lechaim,
Lechaim.
Lechaim.
Good. Okay. Well, we did not do the line that has banim in it, but why don't I give you like 30 seconds to see if you can find banim. What line is banim in? Banim, sons or boys. Banim.
line 4.
You're just too fast.
I'm sorry.
Because you
Thank
told
you.
us to do the homework.
Oh, kola kavod. Kola
Yeah,
kavod. I'm proud of you. That's great. So it's line 4.
we
Okay.
did homework.
And what about, Ashkenazic is l'chaim, which is what we all say, but where is l'chaim?
Lechaim is in the bottom on the 8th.
Right, line 8. And what about Yetziat Mitzrayim? Yetziat Mitzrayim.
8.
Also 8. Yetziat Mitzrayim. Good. Okay. Now we're going to jump to page 51. And on page 51, I'm going to read the line one time, and then I'd like you, while I'm reading it, to keep your ears alert to which 2 words rhyme. Now, what would make them rhyme? It would be probably the vowel pattern that would make them rhyme, along with consonants too, but especially the first thing I would look at would be the vowel pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna read line 1. Kadish, kana, karish, mayim. Okay, I'm gonna read it again, and this time I want you to circle the words that rhyme. Kadish, kana, karish, mayim. Okay, which 2 words rhyme?
Kadish, Karish.
And Karish. Correct. Good for you. Good. Kadish and Karish. Okay, line 2. I'll read it once, and then when I read it again, you can circle the words that rhyme. Ha-rachaman, matana, berit, kavana. Okay, this time you can circle the words that rhyme. Ha-rachaman, matana, berit, kavana. Okay, were you able to circle the words that rhymed? Should I do it again?
Matana and Karana.
Kavana, right.
Havana.
Matana, kavana.
Havana.
Good.
Which other one? Kavana and which one?
Matana,
Matana.
right. Matana and kavana. Okay, line 3. Im, kala, Allah, haminim. Again, im,
Im.
la, Allah, haminim.
Allah and Allah.
Correct. Nachon. Nachon. Correct. Okay. Line 4. Hayar Sham Tzedakah Sayar. Hayar Sham Tzedakah Sayar. So
Nice.
which 2 words rhyme?
The first one and the last one. Ha'ar and Sar'ar.
Sayar. Right. And Rinat, you got that one too, right? Hayar and Sayar. Tov me'od. Good.
I don't think I said anything.
Oh, your screen flashed. Your
I did?
box flashed while Linda was talking, so I thought you were saying it too.
Oh, no. No, but thank you.
I just want to give people credit, but it's very hard because it's hard to tell what's going on with the Zoom screen. Okay. Anyway, I think everyone's doing fine. Line 5. Din, Dayan, Min, Dan. Din, Dayan, Min, Dan. Which 2 rhymed?
Din and Min.
Nachon, Din and Min. Din and Min rhymed. Very good. Okay. Did anybody do this part? You look for the word for bride. Does anybody remember what the word for bride is?
Kala,
Kala. Can you find kala? What line is kala on?
line 3.
Good. Line 3. Very good. Line 3, the second word, kala. Okay. What about the word for justice? Can anybody find that word for justice?
Tzedakah, line 4.
Tov me'od.
Tzedakah.
You are well prepared. That's good. Okay. Tzedakah, right? Tzedakah. Okay, now this is actually very important on page 52. We're going to talk about when do we pronounce a shva and when do we not pronounce a shva. So they're not giving us all of the rules now, but they're kind of reviewing what we've talked about. So we said when a shva appears at the beginning of a word, we pronounce it, right? And when a shva, which is those 2 vertical dots, appears by itself in the middle of a word, it's usually silent. Okay. So on line 1, I think I'll just ask you, I'll say the word and then I'll just, if I say it, it gives it away. In the first word, is the shva silent or is it sounded?
It is sounded.
It sounded.
Sounded because it's at the beginning of the word. Shevarim. Okay, line 1, second word. Is that silent or sounded?
Silent.
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 It is a single shva in the middle of a word, so it's silent.
Nishmat.
What about in the right? Nishmati. Nishmati. Okay. Third word. Is the shva silent or sounded?
Silent.
Silent. It's a single shva in the middle of a word. It's silent. Mitzvah. Okay. Fourth word on line 1. Is this shva silent or sounded?
Silent.
Why
Silent.
is it silent on that fourth word? Why is it silent?
It's in the middle of the word.
Right, it's a single shva in the middle of a word. We'll see some words later that have 2 shvas, and that's treated differently. But it's a single shva in the middle of the word. It's silent. Okay.
Is that word debarta?
Debarta.
Divarta.
Debarta. Okay, and then last word, is the shva silent or sounded?
Silent.
Silent. Chavdala.
Silent, right. Single shva, middle of word. Okay, let's go to the bottom of the page. I am going to read the first line, and then I want you to circle the word that means blessing. Okay, on line 1 at the bottom of 52. Beracha, chala, havdalah, shamash. Circle the word that means blessing. Okay, line 2. Mitzvah, chacham, avadim, lechayim, or in Ashkenazic, lechayim. Circle the word that means to life. Okay, line 3. Navi, banim, shema, shetayim. Please circle the word that means here. Navi, banim, shema, shetayim. Okay, line 4. You're going to try to circle the word that means going up. It can mean going up to the Torah, or it can mean a Torah reading also. Going up. Mitzrayim, Aliyah, Ayin, Yetziat. Circle the word for going up. Okay, and then line 5, you're going to look for the word that means justice. Yeladim, Shamayim, Tzedakah, Yeshiva. Okay, let's go back now. Which of the Hebrew words means blessing?
Bracha.
Bracha, nachon, tov ma'od. Okay, line 2. Which word means to life?
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Tov, l'chaim, or l'chaim. Okay, line 3. Which word means here? Like hero, Israel. Which word means here?
Shema.
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 Good, shema, shema, good. Okay, on line 4, which word means going up?
Aliyah.
Aliyah.
Good.
Aliyah.
And on line 5, which word means justice?
Tzedakah.
Tzedakah.
Right, tzedakah. Excellent work. Very, very good. Okay, now we're going to move on to page 53. Okay, so the Torah, okay, let me ask you the first question. Who knows which books of the Jewish Bible are in the Torah? Who knows that? Does anyone know?
5 books of Moses.
Prophets.
Right, the 5
Im.
books of Moses.
Yes.
5
Genesis.
books of Moses, right?
There's
Genesis, Exodus,
Deuteronomy.
Leviticus,
Mm.
Numbers, Deuteronomy, the 5 books of Moses. That's what's in the Torah. The rest can be found in the Jewish Bible, in the Tanakh, but they're not in the Torah scrolls. So just the 5 books of Moses are in the Torah scrolls. Okay, Torah is also a word that is used to mean Jewish learning, right? Sometimes people use it just to mean Jewish learning, not necessarily. It's not always referring specifically to the 5 books of Moses, even though in the physical Torah, that's what's in the physical Torah, the 5 books of Moses, but it can mean Jewish learning, and it's even used more broadly than that to mean a traditional Jewish way of life. Sometimes people refer to themselves as you might have heard this before. Some people call themselves Torah Jews or Torah Jews. So by which they mean that they are very observant Jews, very traditional Jews. Okay. Now we're getting 2 new vowels. And if you look at the word Torah, the second letter of the word Torah looks like a vav with a dot on top of it, right? And when we were looking at the vowel chart, we learned that that vowel is called a cholam. Cholam. So right under the word Torah, you see that there are 2 circles. One has the cholam that we see in the word Torah, and the second one, the vav dropped out, and all we have left is the dot. You see that? So sometimes the O has the vav with the dot on top, and then sometimes the vav drops out and you just keep the dot. But they're both O. So if there's a dot under a word, it's E. But if there's a dot floating after the vowel, if there is a dot under a consonant, it's E. But if there is a dot floating after a consonant, it's O, right? Under is E and floating next to it is O. So let's go to the bottom of page 53, line 1, and we're going to get a chance to practice the O. All right. And we're going to practice our tav, which is another T sound, right? We say tav has a toe. Tav has a toe. Did we do tav already? We must have, right? Because we did the word Shabbat. So, right. So we're starting on line 1. Toe, bow, row, mo, low, do, no. Okay, can you echo me this time? Toe,
Toe,
bow,
bow,
row,
Row,
mo,
low,
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 go,
do,
no,
no.
no.
Okay, and line 2. O, so,
Oh,
co, o, no, ho, yo. Okay, now I'll read it and you'll echo me. O,
O,
so,
So,
ho,
oh,
o,
oh,
no.
no,
I don't remember which one we just did. Did we just do O? Oh, we're on no.
no,
No.
no,
Ho, yo.
no,
Okay, line 3. Lom, yom, tov, lon, ko, rom. I'll read it again. Lom, yom, tov, lon, ko, rom. Okay, repeat it after me. Lom, yom, tov, lon, ko, rom. Good. Okay, line 4. Haron, boa, beno, koli, bechol, yomar. Let's do it again. Haron, boa, beno, koli, bechol, yomar. Can you read it after me now? Haron,
Aaron,
Aaron,
Boa,
Boraa,
beno,
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 koli,
Oli,
Oli,
bechol,
Behol,
Behol,
yomar.
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 Good. Okay. On page 54, we'll do the same thing. I'll read the first two lines are short, so I'll read them once and then you'll echo me. Kol, lo, ut, yom, kol, son. Okay, now you'll echo me this time. Kol,
Kol,
lo,
Lo,
ut,
Ot,
yom, kol, son. Good. Line 2. Od, kol, ut, shor, som, chor. Okay, now echo me. Od,
Od,
kol,
Kol,
mot,
Ot,
shor,
Shor,
som,
Som,
chor.
Hor.
Or.
Can
Good. Line 3.
Can you pronounce the second word again?
Kol.
Okay,
Oops,
okay.
somebody wants to enter.
Thank you. That's all I needed. I wanted to hear that one.
Okay. We did all of line 2, right? Okay, here we go. Before we do any more, let's take a look at the vocabulary at the bottom of the page. Okay. So there is the word, you will find the word on this page, mora, which means teacher. So I guess when we come to that, you could circle that word, mora. And then it's asking us, how are the words mora and Torah connected?
The Morah teaches the Torah.
Right, Torah teaches the Torah. And although it's hard to see here because of weird grammar things, some letters change, but Morah and Torah are actually the same Hebrew root, which that doesn't look obvious here, but that is the case. They actually come from the same root word. You're absolutely right. That's a great way of remembering it. The Morah teaches Torah. Okay. And then we're going to find these two terms on the page. Rosh Hashanah, right? The new year. Now, Rosh doesn't mean new. Rosh means head,
Cabeza.
right? Head, or like beginning. And Hashanah means the year, head of the year, right? But it's translated as Jewish New Year. And Shabbat, Shalom. So Shalom, I think people already know, means peace or peaceful. Okay. And okay, before we even go any further, in line 1, there is a word that rhymes with no and means no. It rhymes with no and it means no. Can you find the word that rhymes with no and means no on line 1?
Lo. Lo.
Lo. Lo. Don't forget the finger motion. Lo.
Lo.
Okay, very good. All right, now we're on line 3. Okay, before I read line 3, what word on line 3 means here? I'm sorry, somebody said it. What is it?
Shema.
Shama. Right, that means he heard. Shama, he heard. Okay, all right, I'll read line 3 once and then you'll echo me. Shama yavo otam dato anochi kemo. Now you can echo me. Shama
Shema.
yavo.
Yavo.
In the word yavo, where's the O? Can you tell me where we can find the O?
Just after the vet.
Right, it's that little dot floating just after the vet. That's the O. Thank you. Okay, so I'm on the third word now. O Tom.
Oh,
Right, and we see the little dot floating right after the olive there, right? Okay, fourth word. Dato
Oh.
anochi
He.
kemo.
Him.
Okay, line 4. Avot me'od kevod lashon sha'ot. Now echo me this time. Avot
oh,
me'od kevod
Kevod.
lashon
Shon.
sha'ot.
Sha'ot.
Good. Line 5. Kadosh
Kadosh.
Torah
Torah.
Sion
Sion.
Morah
Mora.
Tehom
Tehom.
Melo.
Melo.
Okay, on line 5, which word means teacher? Kadosh Torah Sion.
Mora.
Morah, that's correct. Okay, line 6. Okay, I'll read it. Echo me the first time through because I'd like to get through this page. Shelomo
Shalom.
Aharon
Aharon.
Yaakov
Yeah.
Adon Olam.
Olam.
Okay, so on line 6, who is Shlomo? Who is Shlomo?
Who? The King Solomon.
King Solomon, good. And who is Aharon?
Aaron.
I'm sorry?
Aaron.
Aaron, right. Whose brother is Aaron?
Moshe.
Right, Moshe's brother, Moses' brother is Aharon, Aaron. Okay, Yaakov. Who is Yaakov in the Torah?
Israel.
Yeah, Yaakov.
Yisrael, Israel, and Yaakov. Who is Yaakov's father?
Isaac.
Isaac. Kol hakavod to you. That's great. Right. He is Abraham's grandson, right? Jacob is Abraham's grandson and Isaac's son. Isaac and Rebekah's son. Okay. Line 7, just repeat after me. Hamotzi,
Hamotzi,
Shabbat,
Shabbat.
Shalom,
Shalom,
Rosh
Rosh
Hashanah.
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 Good. And so, did everybody find the greeting for Shabbat? What's the greeting for Shabbat?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And where is New Year's? What is New Year's called?
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah. Okay, line 8. Repeat after me. Torah,
Torah,
Brachot,
Brachot,
Brachot.
Mitzvot,
Mitzvot,
Mitzvot.
Dorot,
Dorot,
Dorot.
Kohanim.
Kohanim.
Okay. Can someone tell us what are berachot?
Blessings.
blessing,
Blessings. And what are mitzvot?
Mitzvot are multiple mitzvahs.
Yes, multiple mitzvahs, multiple commandments, right? Multiple commandments.
Mhm.
Then, very good. And who were the Kohanim? Who were the Kohanim?
The priest, the sons of Aaron.
Yes, the priests, good. The descendants of Aaron, that's right. Kohanim were priests. When I was a kid, I was so confused about what that was. But of course, the priests were the ones that served in the temple. And before the temple, they were in the Ohel Moed, right? The tabernacle, the gigantic moving synagogue, the tent synagogue in the desert.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, you did really, really well today. If you want to take a quick look at page 55 and try to do the exercises on page 55. And next week we'll go over 55 and then jump to chapter 15. I'm very excited because we might actually finish the book this year, which could be so great. Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank
week.
you.
If
See
you
you
watch
next
the Super
time.
Bowl,
Bye.
if you never watch it. then
Thank
have a
you
good-
so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Lehitraot.